I'm speaking to someone who's in a portal at the moment, and specifically what I'm being told is that it's better to be still than to move before you're ready. Now, that sounds very contradictory to anything that I would normally say, but the message behind this is that Spirit wants to let you know that there are things moving without your mental intervention right now. Without your identity or your ego intervening, there is so much spiritual activity happening, which is really transitioning you into a whole new timeline, a whole new version of yourself, almost a new life is what I'm hearing. So if that resonates with you, then this is a message for you today. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and always use your discernment. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, as I do readings like this on a weekly basis. Now, the first thing I have to say is that I feel nervous. I feel a bit of anxiety. So someone watching this might have been feeling this recently. This could be from confusion and things not making sense, or I want to say decisions not working out as you thought that they would. Certain decisions you made early in the year that you thought, oh, this is going to blossom into this specific thing, or this venture is going to take off, or this relationship is going to go this way. And it kind of feels like what you decided at the beginning of the year isn't necessarily going to plan in the way that you thought it would. So I'm sensing a bit of anxiety around that for someone, but I also feel like this message is so connected with the throat center. You are someone that has hidden a lot. And I almost want to say you've hidden your power. There is a strong connection here with your throat center and power. I'm seeing throat and solar plexus. I almost feel like you've had to dilute your power because you grew up in an environment where you couldn't necessarily show it. Maybe you were told to be more polite or be seen and not heard. Or maybe there was some strictness. I'm seeing some like rules that you had to grow up in. And now you're going through this stage where your spirit is wanting you to break free from these rules and restrictions, but it's happening without your ego necessarily needing to understand what's happening. So the vision that I'm being shown is almost like a whirlpool above your head. And what that's communicating to me is that you are in this, it's almost this whirlpool tornado style energy. It feels like there is a lot of clearing in your life and you're still in the clearing phase. So, and I know this has come up in quite a few of my readings lately, if you are in this idle space, this in-between space, this gray space between where you've been and where you're going, who you've been and who you're becoming, it feels very intentional. And I feel like this message today is let yourself empty. Let your ego empty what it no longer needs to carry into this next season. Let your spirit fill you with your soul's desires, with your soul's path, with your gifts. Because I feel like I just keep being drawn to the throat. I feel like there's something around not being able to speak your truth, whether this is a current challenge for you or whether this is something you've just experienced in your life in general. And I really feel like Spirit wants to say to you, this is what is unlocking. So you might be in a career with communication, or perhaps you're looking to improve, strengthen, or sharpen your communication. This could be getting online, posting stuff online. It could be YouTube. It could be any social media profile. It could be that there are things that you just want to say. I almost want to say that there might be things from your past relationships that were left unsaid. You might be holding on to something that is making you feel like, I wish I said this. And I feel like I haven't said it and I'm almost holding on to a bit of anger or resentment or confusion with this person. There's a theme here of being misunderstood and almost wanting to bring justice to being understood with people that didn't in your past. But I'm also being drawn to your digestion. So some of you watching this might have IBS symptoms, nausea at the moment, some sort of like digestive upset. I want to say that there is a purge happening. There is a purge happening. And Spirit wants to say, allow this purge to move through you. This is so important. It almost feels like your role at the moment is to practice being awareness, to expand your capacity to be aware of what you're experiencing without trying to grip onto anything. So if you feel that some past pain or thoughts or patterns, like cycles, I'm being shown like cycles, like you almost keep hitting the same thing and you're like, oh, I'm going through this again. Why is this coming up? If that happens, I want to let you know that it's actually just moving through you. It's almost like purging, just like you do, when you purge food, when you actually are physically sick. That is what's happening in your energy body right now. So some of you might be feeling this nausea and sickness physically. For some of you, this is purely an energetic movement and it wants to just freely move through you. So I really want you to practice holding space for yourself with unconditional love, knowing that whatever is coming up to the surface is coming up to be let go. And it is just really important not to necessarily cling on to certain things. I'm being shown that things from your past are going to be popping up at the moment. This could be people making a reappearance. This could also be visions. You might be getting random flashes, memories of childhood, teenagehood, maybe the last few years. It feels like there is kind of this resurgence of past stuff coming up. And again, it is because you are completing a cycle. This really does feel like it's cyclical. Let's pull a couple of cards. So let's see what's going on here. I actually got this new deck the other day. It's called, I'll show you actually because it's so gorgeous. It's called Foretell, the Energy Forecasting Oracle by River Ether. If you can see that, it's so gorgeous. I'm a very sensory person, so I love to experience things through the senses, like the look, the feel, the experience of unboxing. And these cards are just gorgeous. I got them yesterday, so this is the first time I'm using them. And I really feel called to see what's going on in your energy. So let's see. Again, some of you might be going through mother healing. It feels like there might be some conversations that need to be had with your family, or conversations you wish you had with your family that you didn't. Okay. We have Limitless. Let me show you this card. If you can see that, it's gorgeous. It says, this is your invitation to think bigger, dream bigger. The world has placed limits on what's possible. Now it's time to see for yourself what's beyond them. This is what I'm saying. You're actually releasing the chains, but it feels like it's restriction and rules from your childhood, how you grew up. And then we've got spiritual path. If you can have a look at that one there. For some reason, I'm like a bit shaky. I'm feeling this anxious energy. So you might have just seen the card like shaking there. Okay, this says your spiritual aspects are calling out to you for deeper nourishment and attention, reminding you that the physical is just one part of your existence. This is a time to seek higher wisdom. And she's actually got wings in this picture as well, which is really beautiful. I'm definitely getting a sense of focus, like really being mindful of where you're placing your focus. And it really does feel like I'm being shown like the lid lifting. So if you imagine that there's a lid just above your head and the lid is open, it feels like you're very connected to the other realms, other dimensions at the moment, which is why you might be getting these visions come through. You might be getting really vivid dreams at the moment. You might be getting new insights that feel like they're coming out of nowhere. If not, I feel like that will be happening over the next few months for you. And it's almost like this real opening where you're actually really letting spirit work with you now in like a deeper capacity than previously. So for some of you, you might have previously been, as we all are, at times in our life, led by the ego. You might have thought that something was meant for you and then actually it didn't go to plan, and then you're realizing, it was ego-led. It wasn't spirit-led, it was ego-led. So that's something to really keep in mind. And I also feel like your body and your spirit is going through this cleansing period. Whoa, I just pulled the focus card. You can't write this stuff. Focus, that's what I mean. Focus on what you can focus on, like focus on cleansing and clearing. Stop trying to rush the process. I just pulled miracles, if you can see that. Beautiful card. And this is number 34 as well, which adds up to 7, which is knowledge, spirituality. So again, I feel like you are going to be getting a lot of insights, knowledge. I feel like for some of you, you might have just met someone or are meeting someone that's going to give you a different perspective. I feel like I see you receiving knowledge through someone else and you're like, that makes me make sense of that. So that's specific, but that will be for someone. Woo, what's going on here? Okay. There's a lot of cards wanting to come through. So really, this is a time to be open. I want you to just really focus on trying to be more open in your energy and not trying to be closed off or really in your mind. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to figure it out. Your spirit is moving without you needing to understand right now. And I really do feel like I'm being shown like being in hiding and then coming out of hiding, being restricted and freedom. This is the transformation that you're going through. The transformation that you're going through. Some of you might be stepping into a season of being seen. Others of you this might show up in different ways. So for some of you, this could be public facing, but I feel like for a lot of you, this is in relationships. You're opening up more intimately and you're not feeling like you need to edit yourself as much. Like you can show up as who you are and people can either love you or they can walk away from you. I feel like there's this settledness, and I'm also feeling a bit more settled in my energy now. I don't feel like I'm as shaky. I don't feel like I'm feeling as much anxiety in my throat. So for some of you watching this, you might have felt this shift as you're watching this video where you start to feel more grounded. And I think the groundedness for you right now isn't necessarily, it's not groundedness, it's centeredness. Like what is being asked of you is not necessarily to ground yourself 2 feet in, like really solid and fixed and rigid in something or somewhere. It feels like this is a time to be centered. This is a time to be centered within the storm of what is happening. Centered meaning that you have got yourself no matter what. That you are showing up for yourself no matter what. That you are trusting your intuition above your ego. That you are really taking in what you would need to take in and letting go of anything that just doesn't match where you're going. And this feels like it's from outside sources. So I feel like some of you might have previously relied a lot on what other people told you, or maybe guidance, direction, validation, permission. You're now moving into this season where you don't need those things. And you've got to like create your own internal filter system. So you're in this stage right now of really feeling stronger and more in your power with saying, no, that's not for me. Or yes, that is for me. Or I'm okay not knowing at the moment, but I'm not going to take on someone else's advice if it doesn't feel genuinely true for me. Okay, just pulled a numerology card for you. We've got 2424, so that might be relevant for you. I can also see this as 66 as well. Good times, relaxation, joy, harmony, love, kindness, happiness, support, unity. You are deserving of affection, relaxation, and joy. How delicious is that? Open up to your family and friends about your feelings, and you'll find everyone aligned and working together harmoniously. That makes sense to what I was just saying about feeling like you can open up more in relationships. And there's this more harmonious and aligned way of relating to people where you really don't worry so much about if someone doesn't like you or show you love in the way that you want to receive it. You're almost more settled and centered with I am who I am. Many people are cheering for you. When you spread love, it returns to you multiplied. That's so delicious. I feel like some of you might be an example. I keep being drawn to your family. I almost feel like you're closing cycles in your family, which is to do with how you needed to hide yourself or not speak your truth, or tiptoe around people, or kind of live within these rules and restrictions, whether it was intentionally to entrap you or not, and it was just a culture thing or a family thing or whatever it was. And I feel like you're entering this season of realizing that you can be loved without those things. You don't need to put parameters on how you are loved and how you love. You're realizing that you can love your family. I feel like some of you are like looking at your family now and your family dynamics and finding forgiveness, finding acceptance, and finding closure. Closure feels important. Woo, closure feels important. Let me know in the comments if that is for you, that you're finding closure with past issues in the family or challenges in the family. And I feel like there's just this new openness with how your heart connects. It's really interesting. It's almost like before, like your heart wanted to express itself in a certain way and your head would stop it, or your head would block it, saying, no, you need permission first, or no, that's going to be wrong, or no, that's going to be right, or oh, I need to like live within these rules. And I feel like now your heart is able to fully express itself, or you're in the process of opening your heart to fully express itself. And your head's not intervening saying, that's not right, you're going to be punished for that. you're going to be told off for that. There's this real theme here about being told off and almost this like punishment reward system in childhood or in your home life. I feel like for some of you, that's going to make sense immediately as you hear that. I feel like for others, you'll be like, oh, I don't think that's for me, but it will make sense down the line. I feel like it is simply a perspective. So we all grow up with rules and regulations in our families, whether we come from families that are very open and almost like no structure, or whether it's families that are incredibly structured. Either way, there are certain unspoken rules that we pick up on as these little sponges that we are when we're kids, which tell us right from wrong, if we can go outside that boundary or if we need to stay within the boundary. And boundaries might be important for you. I feel like that's coming through quite strong. You might feel like you've struggled to set boundaries, or you're going through a period of realizing how powerful it is to set boundaries, because you can set boundaries and still be loved. You're realizing now that if I set boundaries, if I honor my yeses, if I honor my nos, it doesn't mean I'm shutting out love. It doesn't necessarily lead to rejection, although it might with some people. But if it does, I'm okay with that. Because I know that boundaries is really about me channeling my time, my attention, and my energy in a way that feels fulfilling and nourishing and enriching for me. And how people respond to that is their own free will and their own choice. So it feels like there's this real transformation that you've had with boundaries. And I actually feel like boundaries is going to be so important for you in your future. That's coming through really strongly, that your future is dependent on what you let in and what you keep out. I feel like I'm speaking to someone who could be quite sensitive to other people's energies or energy in the environment. Some of you might be introverts. Others of you might just feel like you need a lot of alone time just to decompress. I feel like solitude is coming through as being very important for you at the moment. But again, I feel like I'm being drawn to the fact that because people didn't necessarily respect your boundaries when you were younger, or maybe you felt like you had to create these really strict boundaries to keep out what you felt like you couldn't digest, which also brings us full circle to the digestion issues I was picking up on. Like you struggle to digest certain people or things in your environment, and this will come from like very early on in your development. I'm seeing 3 years old here. Whatever was happening in your family life, whether you're conscious of it or not, at 3 years old, I feel like there might have been some stress in the environment or some ways of operating in the environment that you struggled with as a sensitive being to actually digest. For some of you, this could be a very spiritual aspect here where you are from another planet, or you have a connection with other entities or other dimensions, and coming into this physical incarnation, you were like, whoa, how do I digest what is going on here? This feels very dense. I'm hearing the word density. So that could be for some of you. I feel like this message is kind of going here, there, and everywhere, this specific bit about boundaries, but I feel like it's because different people will pick up on different aspects of this when you're watching this video. So I feel like for some of you, it could be a real spiritual thing there. And I feel like for some of you, you have had to shut out connection because you just didn't feel safe to let it in. For some of you, there may be some trauma around feeling violated or your personal space being invaded. Some of you might have had parents with enmeshment or like helicopter parents. And it's kind of like you've rejected responsibility. You've rejected... Oh, it's weird, isn't it? It's almost like a part of you wants to be told what to do, but a part of you also rejects it because the responsibility just felt so much when you were younger, when you were a child. You wanted to make your own choices, but also felt like you couldn't make your own choices. Like if you made a choice for yourself that you thought was right, maybe you were told off for it. So it's kind of like you've waited for permission for people to tell you what direction to go in your business or your career or relationships or maybe just general life guidance. And at the same time, none of it has really resonated with you because ultimately you're here to choose your own path. You actually are someone that has the freedom of choice. There are many different things that you could do. You're not just bound to one life path or one specific expression of self. I feel like I'm speaking to someone that is maybe very multifaceted in nature, and you've not really known how you can fully express that and feel safe in that. And so you kind of been like searching for the thing, which we all do, right? We all do that. But I do really feel like this is a time for you to open up to expressing your heart and your essence. When I say expressing your heart, I'm really talking about expressing your essence, your most authentic nature, your soul's expression. I really feel like just express yourself in whatever brings you joy without putting the pressure on yourself right now for it to be the thing. So some of you might have been looking at ways that you can monetize your gifts, skills, or talents. I want to say just experiment with your gifts, skills, and talents. Like really just go out there and play and see how it just evolves and how it monetizes naturally. I also feel like for some of you, you might be feeling interested in exploring new hobbies or activities, or maybe meeting new people, doing things you wouldn't normally do. And I want to say to you, just really honor that, because I feel like, again, it really circles back to you're breaking the cycle of being told what to do and how to live and how to express yourself. And now you're entering this season of almost rediscovering the full immensity of who you are, your uniqueness, your spirit, your interests, your passions, your whatever it is that lights you up. And so I want to say, like, really just embrace that. Really embrace that at this time. Okay, another numerology card is 2112. Whoa. I love it. Okay, it says it's up to you. I love that. What did I just say? You have freedom of choice. This is what you're reconnecting with. This is what you're building power with. It says, oh my God, I literally can't believe this. It says guidance, good fortune, divine support, direction, trust, destiny, and faith. Even if it seems like you're not making any meaningful progress, trust that you're moving in the right direction. Seeing this number is a sign that everything will work out in your favor and your dreams are about to come true. Believe in the process and stay positive. I love this so much, guys. So this really, even 2112, that really says to me about closing cycles. The number 12 is about closing cycles, and we've also got 33 here, which is about expansion and creation. So I feel like this is a time for you to discover your own limitlessness. You're really becoming aware of the limits that were placed on you or imposed on you, or that you chose to take on in your younger years. And I feel like you're going through a portal of really just all of these limits are like leaving you, and you're breaking the chains. And I feel like this is a time for you to just remain open, to be okay being still and almost waiting and just living, like just being, rather than feeling like you need to chase or push or force an action right now. If an action comes up that feels genuinely aligned, follow it. But you also might be experiencing a bit of resistance or some blocks. Some of you might have been going to do something and then you've been blocked with it. This could be technologically. You've gone to do something and then you keep getting a glitch or an error. For some of you, this might be with your path moving forward. And I almost want to say to you that I feel like I'm speaking to someone who has or had a lot of fear around your forward direction in life. And this fear might have showed itself as confusion, as comparison, as getting lost in other people's version of success or what they're doing for their life, and almost like struggling to really connect with your own individual path or sense of meaning and fulfillment. And I really want to say to you that this is what is clearing, but you also are still in this a little bit where this fear is coming up. This fear is coming up. So you might be experiencing a bit of resistance in your external reality. And I almost just want to say, don't push it, like don't force it. Really trust the process. If you look at all the cards we've got here, we've got miracles, limitless, spiritual path, focus. We've got good times. It's up to you. This is a very positive message. And I almost feel like this might just be a reminder that whenever you find this video, you might be in a season that feels like nothing is working out, but sometimes that feeling happens right before everything falls into place. Sometimes we experience obstacles just before everything works out in a better way than we could ever dream of. So I want you to really focus on being open, being heart-led, loving yourself, loving others, do what brings you joy, indulge in your passions, your hobbies, new interests, like just allow yourself to explore, because Spirit really is clearing things for you. There's this head-heart union or coherence that's coming through, and it's all really connected with your forward direction. So I feel like this message is really speaking to you when you're at the transformation point, when you're in the chrysalis. You're about to become a butterfly, but things are just feeling gooey and yucky, and you might be in the dark about certain things. You might not be able to see certain things. You might be feeling like restricted or held down or not being able to move. And I almost want to say to you, this is just the messy middle, the transformation period of where Spirit is just working in favor of your future. So this doesn't feel like it's a future message. I almost just want to say to you, just really embrace life as it is right now. And just take it from there. Take it day by day. So this is amazing, team. I'm going to leave it there. That feels complete. Let me know in the comments, as always, what landed for you. I want to know. Tell me, what was something that made you go, oh, that's for me, and you felt it in your instinct, you felt it in your gut. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because I do readings like this on a weekly basis. And you can also join my members community below, which is, the link will just be there. I think it's the second link down, where I do some exclusive videos for my members and also member first videos as well. So you can get the videos before anyone else. Other than that, guys, I'm sending you so much love, peace, and power. Really just embrace this season. You don't know what's around the corner, but it feels very positive. So really embrace this season of transformation, even if it feels a bit like icky and confusing or resistant focused. It's all good. Everything is truly falling into place. And I'm seeing a path as well. It almost feels like you're building the path right now. Brick by brick, you're actually building the path towards your future. And you are being shown any fear or feelings of resistance against you being limitless with your future. Okay? All right, team, lots of love. I will see you next time.